We all have that one folder, the digital graveyard where we bury our best intentions under the weight of courses we swore we'd finish and masterclasses we promised ourselves we'd watch. We register for 7-day challenges with genuine excitement, download the PDFs, and then close the tab. The ebooks sit unopened. The video links quietly expire in our inboxes. If you're the person creating these resources, this behavior looks baffling. You see a dashboard showing hundreds of downloads and high email open rates, perfectly paired with near-zero engagement on the actual content. The immediate reaction is to blame the mechanics. You assume your copywriting is weak, or you need to tweak the sequence of your email funnel to force a click. But high open rates paired with low click-through rates rarely point to a broken funnel. They point to human behavior. You are looking at a clear audience signal. People are eagerly raising their hands, claiming they want to change their lives, but actively refusing to take the steps you laid out for them. Understanding why this happens requires looking at who is actually downloading your work. Hitting the download button is easy. It costs nothing, but it does not mean the person on the other end is actually equipped to use what you gave them. Take the first type of person filling your email list, the hungry beginner. Their blood is hot, they are early in their journey, and every piece of information feels incredibly urgent. They say yes to everything. They collect templates, guides, and training modules, like they are stockpiling heavy gear for a mountain expedition they aren't even scheduled to climb yet. Their issue is not a lack of motivation. Their issue is relevance. They simply don't have the practical context needed to apply what they are learning. This diagram illustrates what happens when you teach advanced strategies to this group. You can hand them a perfect SEO strategy and they will diligently write down every term, but the concepts have nowhere to land. Without real-world experience as a hook, the information evaporates. All the enthusiasm in the world cannot force learning if the knowledge has nothing to attach to in the user's daily life. Then you have a second group, driven by an entirely different behavioral quirk, the romantic. They are not romantic in a sentimental way. They are simply in love with the idea of the outcome. They deeply desire the identity of being a successful entrepreneur or a respected coach, but they recoil at the actual mechanics of doing the work. So they open your emails, they read your stories, they like what you represent, and just being in the general proximity of your content makes them feel like they are making progress. The appeal lives entirely in their imagination. And the problem is, it requires absolutely no physical action to maintain. The fantasy becomes the reward. But eventually, the fantasy demands reality. The moment your email asks them to actually commit, to purchase a course, book a discovery call, or start a module, the illusion breaks and they stall. The hungry beginner and the romantic both look like ideal clients on a spreadsheet. They both click subscribe. But they are both using the appearance of readiness to avoid the friction of actual movement. This brings us to an uncomfortable truth about why people refuse to finish what they start. To the human brain, solving a long-standing problem often feels like a loss. We engage in a subconscious habit of identity protection. If a person spends years describing themselves as someone who struggles with systems, or someone who lacks confidence, they slowly build a psychological home inside that struggle. It becomes who they are. Even when that situation is painful, the repetition makes it intensely familiar. And given the choice between a familiar pain and an unfamiliar reality, the brain will almost always choose the pain. This creates the ultimate paradox of self-improvement. The version of themselves who no longer has the problem, the confident, organized, successful version, is not someone they recognize. As this animation shows, that future self is effectively a stranger. Humans are hardwired to avoid strangers. Even when that stranger represents a better life, the brain interprets the drastic change as a threat and violently rejects the transition. This is why aggressive marketing that only agitates a pain point frequently fails. Your audience is secretly attached to their pain. If you want them to cross the gap, you have to extend a solid bridge. The solution has to feel less like a distant, threatening aspiration and more like an inhabited, recognizable next step. Genuine progress doesn't happen when you push someone toward a fantasy. It happens when you align your knowledge with their actual readiness, making the transformation so completely safe and so familiar that they are finally willing to step into it.